guitarists, and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at surf rock. So as you can see on the screen, we have in our first three measures, we have kind of a repeating figure between 3 Ds and then a C, 3 As and a C, back to 3 Ds and a C. Let's go ahead and just play that real quick. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and D, 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 C, A, C, D, 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 C. All right. So now let's look at the measure after that. What we have is interesting, actually. If you were to put all those notes down on the fretboard, you have A, D, and F, and they're all on individual strings. So you're actually going from string 3 to string 2 to string 1. And if you were to play these all at once, this actually makes a chord in itself called D minor. So this is an interesting one. Sometimes if you identify chords as when they're broken up, they're called an arpeggio. So when we take this figure, if you were to put it all together, an arpeggio played vertically all at the same time makes a chord, as opposed to, okay? So this is kind of one of those, if you identify it now, you'll recognize it later when it comes up in future songs. Okay, so what I do is when I see that arpeggio is I can just kind of layer it, and then my hand just kind of goes into that shape already. But for now, you can just look at it at the individual notes. So let's just go ahead and play that entire first line now. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. D, 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 C, A, C, D, 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 C, A, D, F. And now we're on to line number 2. And line number 2 has, just like in line number 1, we have this alternating pattern of 3 Gs to an F, 3 Ds to an F, back to 3 Gs and an F. Let's just go ahead and do those 3 measures. 1, 2, ready, go. G, 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 F, D, 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 F, G, 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 F. All right. And now we got the last measure, which it's unlike what happens in the first line. In the second line, we actually are only focusing on the second string and third string at this point. So it'll go D, A, C. So it's kind of skipping down around that C. Okay, so let's just play that fourth measure by itself. 3 and D, A, C. Okay. Make sure that you're feeling out that you're not overshooting going down to the next string, that it's just going to the third to play that. Let's try it again. 3 and D, A, C. All right. Let's play that entire second line. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. G, 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 F, D, 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 F, G, 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 F, D, A, C. All right. Let's go ahead and play the first 2 lines together. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. D, 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 C, A, C, D, 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 C, A, D, F. Next line. G, 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 F, D, 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 F, G, 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 F, D, A, C. Now, if you haven't recognized it by now, this is actually kind of adapted from back in the day called Wipeout. And it kind of sounds like this. You kind of recognize that? It kind of sounds surfy, right? If you haven't heard that before, it's a really great song. Especially the drum part. It's really cool. All right, so now that we played those first 2 lines, let's move on to the third line. And if you can see, it's pretty much exactly the same as the first line, except for in the third measure, instead of going up to a C, we hit that F that's reminiscent from the second line back to the D. in the fourth measure. So let's go ahead and play that whole last line. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. D, 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 C, A, C, D, 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 F, D. All right. Let's go ahead and play the whole thing now. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. D, 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 C, A, C, D, 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 C, A, D, F. Next line. G, 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 F, D, 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 F, G, 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 F, D, A, C. Next line. D, 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 C, A, C, D, 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 F, D. All right. Now let's go ahead and work on the chords. So the first chord is the chord D, okay? And the way this works is that you're going to place your first finger on the third string, second fret. You're going to place your second finger on the first string, second fret. And you're going to place your third finger on the second string, third fret, okay? And you strum the top 4 strings. And remember, when I say top, the top is I'm referring to in pitches, not in proximity to your eyeballs. So the top meaning the highest pitched strings, not these ones down here. Okay, remember it's kind of in order of the way of the strings that we're learning. This is the first string, second string, third string, and fourth string. So we're playing the top 4 strings, and 4 strings 4 through 1. Okay? And the next chord that we have is in the second line, and that's G. And we already know that guy, right? And just as a reminder, it's third finger, first fret, first string, and then second finger on the 6th string, 3rd fret, and your first finger is on the 5th string, 2nd fret. Okay? And then it just goes back to D. So now the key element about this is we want to keep the energy up. If we were to play this at the same tempo that we were just doing, it just kind of sounds like we're going to cover up the melody. Okay? So what we do is we do this little technique that I like to do called palm muting, meaning that you're going to use your palm and you're going to kind of put it on the strings. And what I like to do is I like to put it right here. And you can see here on the bridge, okay, whether you're playing an acoustic guitar, electric guitar, it all works the same. What you want to do is just kind of lean it on top of those strings. And what it's going to do is it's going to make this muted sound, like where you hear the tone, but it gets rid of the sustain. Now, if you're getting this sound, where it sounds a little tinny, and it's like the pitch is starting to go up, and doesn't sound like the open strings, like when you play it, then that means you're going too far up. You want to back it up toward your bridge, okay? So, an example, I can play, if I'm playing the D string, or let's do the G string since we've been working on the 3rd string. You can play the 3rd string, open G, and just lean your palm on it, and it stays like the same pitch, but now what's happening is that sustain has gone away, and you're only hearing the attack, or just a minor bit of sustain, okay? And that's what you want to get for the rest of the strings, okay? So go ahead and take some time to kind of practice getting it in the right position. And once you find that nice palm muting position, this can be a really nice asset to your playing. And I do this all the time, just kind of getting myself with rhythms, getting my acquainted with different tones. And what it can do is it can add some energy when we start doing 8th notes. So, and 8th notes are half of the beat. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, we split it up into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So what you can do is just do what we call double downs. And we're going to talk a lot more about rhythm playing here in the next couple videos. So don't you worry, we'll be covering a lot more about this later. But for now, we just kind of want to get that energy, kind of like a punk rock sound, or just a regular, like, nice surf rock sound. So when I go to play D, instead of or in adding eighth notes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the palm mute, and it gives it a whole nice sound to it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of add this. So now what that means is, instead of one measure being 4 strums, it's going to be 8 strums, 8 faster strums. Okay, so we count it as 1, 2, 3, 4 when we're counting chord notes. Now with the ands, we add and into in between those big numbers. And we call those eighths. So it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and the big beat still stays there, the same, unmovable. So when you actually play this with the melody, you're going to still hear it. But now what you're going to do is you're going to hear this, what we call the subdivision of that big beat. Okay, so now let's go ahead and try that out. Let's just play the first line of D. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 2, 3 and 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're on to the next line. Let's go ahead and play it on G. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Great job. And now we go back to D and we do the same thing. So here's the last line. Here we go. Let's do it together. 1 and 2 and ready and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. And then on the fourth one, we got a whole note, so we'll just let it ring. Okay, so let's add it all together. Let's start from the very beginning, starting with D. Here we go. Eighth notes. 1 and 2 and ready and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3 to G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3 to D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.